Hey everyone, the international break is finally coming to an end. Thankfully, Atlanta United did not have a match to play because Josef Martinez was not here. We're going to take a dip into the mailbag and we're going to preview that match against Colorado Rapids coming up this Saturday. All that and more coming up.
What's going on, 5-Stripe fam? I'm AJ, this is Tanner McLeod. Before we get started, become a member of the notification squad on YouTube by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button. Before we get into the match preview, let's get into the news, and Atlanta United clinched their spot in the playoffs. Yes, 2 seasons, 2 playoffs, and
that's two more than someone who's supposed to be a rival.
Right, indeed. But unfortunately, it was a little bit of a backdoor way in. We could have done the business against DC United, but instead, DC United kind of did it for us with the draw against NYCFC on Saturday. And now we are in the playoffs, and it feels pretty good, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now, honestly, it's kind of coming down to who's going to be number 1 and 2. Because with that result for NYCFC, Atlanta United have 2 games in hand. If they win those games, they're 11 points clear of that 3rd place team. So I think right now, Atlanta United are looking good. They go about their business. They're going to be one of those first 2 spots that gets that bye, which in my opinion is key because I want nothing to do with that play-in game. And it's kind of bittersweet in the sense that they didn't really do it on the pitch. You know, it's always nice when you go out and you win something. It's like, boom, did it ourselves, happy days, let's kick on from here. We dropped the ball completely against DC, and then DC did us a solid, I guess. I really don't like DC, so I don't know how I feel about this, but I guess they did us a good one. So
right, I would have loved to do it on their field.
Very much so. Mostly because they've beaten us 4 times, and it's just annoying. But
hella annoying.
Annoying. Positives: if we play them in the playoffs, it shouldn't be there. Yeah. Well, actually, if we do see them in the playoffs, it would be there.
Yeah, it would be home and away.
Can we just not see DC? Like, I just want nothing to. Out of all the teams in the playoffs, I don't want them. They're the one team I don't want them. I just don't get it. There's something about that team. Just no. Yeah. We'll have to play Red Bulls at some point if we want to get somewhere. Just not DC. Just not them.
I would actually feel more comfortable about playing Red Bulls versus DC than
mostly because of Acosta. That guy's gonna score, and I'm gonna be mad because he's like 5'1", and I don't understand how he plays professional sports. And I'm just gonna be sitting there just infuriated, going, "How has he done it again?" Except it'll be the playoffs, so I'll be a lot more pissed off. All right. Anyway, we're in the playoffs. Happy days.
Indeed, indeed. And so our next bit of news is that Josef Martinez is coming back early. Happy days for sure.
Get in! Yes. I'm so excited. Genuinely, so thrilled.
So he, this week was not gonna play against Panama, and so it's good. That's very, very good that essentially Josef Martinez comes back. The priority was, I think there was a conversation between Atlanta United, Josef Martinez, and the Venezuela national team, and so that's very good. He, is prioritizing this MLS playoff run, I think.
Good. Glad that he's got that figured out over a pointless international break in the beginning of September that to me makes no sense considering we had a World Cup less than 2 months ago. But I guess they have to have the Nations League or whatever the hell they're calling it in Europe, and I don't even know what they're doing in South America right now. I guess preparing for the next Copa America. But he didn't get hurt, and he's coming back, and that's the important thing because at the end of the day, I want that guy lining up and not being hurt, unlike last year when Venezuela broke him.
Indeed, yeah.
But speaking of him, actually, you can vote for him for a custom cover in FIFA 19. We're going to throw the link down in the description below. You guys know what to do when it comes to voting for things in Atlanta United, so let's see him on the cover of the MLS, well, not MLS, but the US version of FIFA 19. That plus Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the game. I'm going to be playing a lot of FIFA with Atlanta United this year.
Indeed. There might be some FIFA 19 related content in the future on this channel, so keep your eyes peeled, maybe. But next piece of news is that George Bello has already possibly piqued the interest of those in Europe.
Let's settle that down.
Yeah, the source is Calcio Mercato, and they're not the most reliable, but the likes of apparently Manchester City, Chelsea, Roma. These are very big world powers, and if it were, then that's huge news. But I think this is too early yet. He's played 18 minutes in 1 game.
Alphonso Davies was, banging in goals, running past like 5 defenders before
as a left wing back.
As a left wing back. But actually, kind of sticking on the trend of youth players, you may have seen it. We talked about it a few weeks ago because he was looking to visit. but Will Vint has signed with Atlanta United. Yeah. I'm particularly excited because, well, you know, I'm a Manchester United fan, and he wanted to be there, and I would have been excited for an American to be there. But if he's good enough for Man United, he's definitely good enough for Atlanta United. Right. And it sounds like they want to get him playing for the USL team before the end of this season. Yeah. So clearly there's some high hopes and some high expectations for a kid of that age with that ability. But then again, obviously, otherwise he wouldn't have been at Manchester United.
Right, but visa problems apparently were the culprit there, and you know, that's good news for Atlanta United because
hey, he seems like a really talented kid, and I'd love to see him wearing the 5 stripes at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's for sure.
Agreed. And guys, let's move on to your mailbag questions. You sent in your questions through IG Story, so continue to send those in, and we'll answer your questions. And first one comes from Desmonds Photos. He asks, what happens to Remedi and Jeff when Nagbe comes back? Why is nobody talking about playing Tito as the left winger?
Well, one, I'm talking about playing Tito on the left wing.
Yeah,
I've been banging on about that for like months now. I think that would be the greatest idea ever.
And he did.
And he did a little bit. We didn't play this great when he was there, but I think he showed some bright spots. I'm stubborn about things. I love inverted wingers, inverse forwards. Those guys cutting in on their strong foots. I think that you should put him there. But then again, he's been moving around so much anyway that he's just great at creating space. And so, you know, obviously that goal he had against, why am I forgetting all of a sudden, where he ran past everyone and scored an amazing goal. That one, my brain's just failing me right now, but came from the right side. So, I mean, he's just an incredibly talented player as a forward, and I think wherever you're going to put him, he's going to excel.
Right.
In regards to Nagbe, though, I mean, just options. I mean, if you're trying to be aggressive, you play Nagbe in Almiron in midfield with maybe a Larry or a Remedi as that holding midfielder. There's so much you can do, and thankfully these guys are finally coming back.
Right. I think it's you know, you have the position of midfield as it's one of the most hard-working positions. You have to cover the most ground, and so I think having options in there, especially in the stretch run, is super important. And you know, someone like Nagbe who can, you know, well, you know, if he's healthy, he can run for, you know, the entire game, and that's fantastic. And then you have Remedi who, you know, is non-stop. He's gonna press, you know, every single player on the opposing team. Yeah. And Larry, it just seems like he plays every single game. Yeah,
I mean, he's just Mr. Reliable.
Yeah,
I think the best thing,
can't lose.
It's just so many options. For me, I think if you're still playing a 4-3-3, which they should, I think you start with Almiron, Nagbe, and Larry sitting. And I think Remedi is the perfect person to bring on as a sub when you're trying to just kill that game off, because he's going to bring that energy, he's going to bring that positioning, he's going to be able to press guys but also get back into position. That's someone you need at the end of the game when you're trying to kill that game and choke the life out of it and secure a result, especially in the playoffs. So it really depends. That's the great thing about Atlanta United and how they've assembled this team. Remedi, you know, he's been really surprising and really good, with the exception kind of DC. Aside from that, I think he's just fit glove in hand perfectly into this team. I mean, they're just so deep, and hopefully these guys can come back and the rest of the team can stay healthy, and we'll just have just a dearth of options going into the playoffs.
Dude. Next question comes from Hey It's Daniel 1. He asks, am I the only one who thinks Tanner looks like Bobby Warshaw? Ooh, man.
I guess maybe a little bit. My beard is better, I think, personally. I think this Captain Jack Sparrow type thing is a little bit okay.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess there are worse people to be a doppelganger of, so, you know. But,
I prefer Matsumels, if you know who that is.
Sure.
I think I look a little bit like him. I don't know. He's, no offense, Bobby. He's a little bit more famous. So I want to be compared to someone I could aspire to never be as good at soccer as.
But next question comes from Drea Fernandez. She asks, who is your favorite player?
Ooh.
And that is a super hard question.
That is a very tough question.
Yeah.
I could really just...
I could rifle on.
I could go on and be like, I love Julian Gressel, which I do, because he can play literally every single position. He works hard and somehow does fantastic at all of them. He's got an incredible cross and an incredible work rate. But at the same time, how can I argue against Josef Martinez? Because he's banging in goals left, right, and center.
Right.
But also Miguel Almiron. But I mean, this team has so many players, and the thing about it is they all have likable personalities. And so it's hard to just pick one, for me at least.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is very difficult for me. I mean, definitely favor a Tito Villalba, who just has an eye for the big moments. Miguel Miron, who's just like the engine of our team. If we didn't have him, it'd be very apparent. You have just LGP, who just bosses the defense. You have Parkey, who's just a consummate captain. Josef Martinez. I mean, it's down the line. I mean, it's very, very hard. But if you're gonna point a gun to my head, it's got to be the MVP. It's got to be Josef Martinez.
Yeah, Scott. If you had to say same situation,
yeah.
When you score that many goals and have the swagger honestly, he endeared me. Like, I love that guy forever because of the way he took his record-breaking goal, chipped the keeper, and then stared him down. Yeah. Like, for that moment by itself, I love that man. He is incredible. That moment, just right there. It's like, if I had to pick, it'd be Josef Martinez. But really, can you fault anyone for saying that?
Yeah, no, exactly. And, for me, it's like, he just has that constant swagger where, he's just, if you can get him, in the post games and get him on a quote, it's always good.
And we continue to follow
always
him.
Goal.
Like, scoring the goal and then saying that you're their dad. I mean, just what a guy.
Brilliant stuff. But anyway, next question comes from Benny Moses 23. He asks, who do you think we will see in the first round? Very tough question.
Ideally, no one in the first round. Because we'd be in the second round via that bye.
Right.
And preferably not DC. For me, that's basically how it goes.
I would agree. I would hope like a Philadelphia Union sneaks in instead of DC.
Not Columbus.
But if it is an NYCFC,
it was Columbus who scored that worldie goal.
Yeah,
it's coming back.
Yeah, but if it's NYCFC that we see, in the second round, and if they beat whoever they play in their first round, I like it. I mean, I am not going to favor our chances at Yankee Stadium, but I think through the two legs, I think I like our chances there. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard either way, and
the East, I think, is definitely the more difficult side of things, especially with the resurgent DC who are making that push. I don't think Toronto are going to make it anymore. They've kind of just...
Yeah, it's sputtered a little bit. But,
not that I care, because I hate literally half of that team. So that's fine if they don't make the playoffs. I don't have to see them again.
Right.
But, I mean, for me, it's just not DC, and that's pretty much it. Anyone else, I would really rather play than DC.
Yeah, fair enough. And, guys, that's going to move us into our match preview, and that's this Saturday, 3:30 at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Colorado. It's against Colorado Rapids, Tim Howard, Kellen Acosta, who just moved there from FC Dallas, and
which is crazy, that whole trade. They're like, "Oh, you don't want to try? All right, we'll put you on the worst team in the league. See ya." Wow.
Yeah, but
respect.
Yeah, exactly. And they're a pretty bad team. They're 6-15 and 6. They lost their last match. It's not not a pretty season for them, but I think anytime in MLS you go on the road, it's gonna be tough. And but even though we're road warriors, I mean,
altitude might be a thing.
Exactly, it's always tough. So
I mean, for me, they had 6 goals put past them by Real Salt Lake, who are playing well because they put 6 goals past the Galaxy as well. But they leak goals like it's going out of style, and I think that suits Atlanta United. I think Colorado will set up to absolutely just shut up shop and not give anything away.
Right. And they're pretty weak at home. They're 5, 6, and 3, and so that's definitely not very pretty at all. And they've lost just twice in the last 3 months, actually. But that's interesting.
What are streaks for Atlanta United? Unless it involves DC, it seems Atlanta United, especially and Atlanta United lost. So coming off a loss, Atlanta United, home or away, almost always get 3 points against a bad team. I mean, I don't see Colorado really offering anything. I mean, I just don't think they're very good at all. I mean,
for sure.
Tim Howard's there, but he's kind of really he's past it. Let's be realistic.
Yeah. I mean, it's not his his prime at all, and he's faced a lot of shots this year as well. It's just a very leaky defense that they're going to face as well. But of course, Atlanta United are coming in from that DC United loss. We We're undefeated in our past 8 before that, and so we're really looking to set things straight. And we have historically this season that we've anytime we've gone down in a loss or a draw, like we've bounced back, and we've gone on a good run to get past that. So I think we're looking for this game to really, I think we'll set this this ship in the right direction. But and especially with 7 games left in the season, I think it's high time to actually do that right now and really go on a run and maybe go on a winning streak. But
yeah, I think the thing that also really helps this team though is the fact that you have players coming back into fitness. You have Nagby returning to full training. You have Vasquez training again. You have Escobar training again. So you have these guys coming back into training, and well, Nagby, he's fully training with the side. So I don't personally think he's available for selection just yet. I think maybe you bring him with you, and depending on how things go, maybe you can get him a few minutes if you're up 3 or 4. Who knows? I mean, but I don't think you need to risk him yet. But I think that Atlanta United, you only had a couple of guys go on international duty. You've had time to rest. You've had time to kind of look at what you did wrong against DC, and then take that, improve, and play against a very poor side that you should probably feel confident in securing a result against.
Right, and it's a result that we need a W. I mean, essentially, we win, we go back to top. I mean,
this is that game in hand, basically. Well, this and that San Jose trip, we're going to get that game in hand back. So we'll see coming up against Real Salt Lake in 2 weeks' time where we stand at that point, because it'll be same games played. We need to get these points. It was a missed opportunity at DC. That was 3 points dropped. It was an ability to have a gap between the Red Bulls and Atlanta United. There's no more time for missed opportunities and drop points. Against a team that you should beat, they have to go out there and secure the result that they need to get.
Right, and against a team that their leading goal scorer Dominique Badji has 7, and our Josef Martinez has 28.
It's 4 times. I think actually Colorado is one of the teams that he might have more goals than their whole team.
Yeah, it might be at this point. And then assist-wise, Edgar Castillo has 5. It's like it's just not a very strong offensively type of team. But Kellen Acosta just moved there, and he has kind of found a little bit of a resurgence with them, and scored a couple goals for them. And so that's
he's a dangerous player.
Yeah,
he can be a tricky customer,
especially if he feels up to it and he wants to actually play.
That's the thing. I mean, if he feels up to it, then he's good. If he's not up to it, then that's good, because that's one less player playing for Colorado. I mean, when he doesn't, that's why Dallas got rid of him, because he just would down tools for no reason in games and just not try. And they were like, yeah, we're good. And I can't blame them, to be perfectly honest. So,
and I have a feeling that a Colorado Rapids, this might be their almost game of the season, because they realize, maybe we can make an impact in the playoff implications by just defeating a top team. And this is why we need to take this game very seriously. And I think we need to pull it, kind of put our strongest squad out there. And I think it's an unchanged 11 from the DC United game.
I fully agree with you on that. I don't think Nagby's ready to come back into the starting 11 just yet, and I wouldn't put him there even if he was. I just think it's way too soon. I don't think Bello's ready on the left either. I think this is a game that you can afford to be a bit more aggressive at, because again, they ship goals like it's going out of style. But at the same time, it's going to be the same 11 for pretty much the fourth game in a row at this point, or third game in a row at this point. So I think that's what they're going to put out. It's more than good enough to beat them. So taking that, how do you think this game's going to go?
Yeah, I think it's a 2-0 win. I think they're going to really sit back so much against us that we're not going to get too many, but I think we're going to get our chances, and we'll put them away, and I don't think I see them scoring against us. So what about you?
Yeah, I think 3-0. I think that this team can be had. I think 2-0 definitely a safer bet. But I think at the same time, 2-3-0, it could be 5. It could be 6. I have no idea. This team is not good. If Real Salt Lake can ship 6 past you, and no offense to Real Salt Lake, they're not Atlanta United when it comes to their attacking players. Like, they're not. Although we'll see in a couple weeks' time. But I think it's 3-0. I think the Five Stripes get it done. I think they take care of the business, move on to San Jose, get 3 more points there, and then bring it back for that big 70,000 game against the
Real Salt Lake. But guys, that's our match preview. Let us know your score predictions in the comments below. And remember to subscribe if you haven't. Remember to smash that like button. Share this video because it really does help us a lot. And for Tanner McLeod, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching.